You don't conquer fear by avoiding it. You conquer it by riding straight through. Because beyond fear is freedom. Trade fearlessly at capital.com.
Hello everyone, welcome along to the GWA, the Wingfoiling World Tour, where we are about to do some slalom racing here on Fahid Island in Abu Dhabi. It's the Fahid Island Beach Club, which plays host to the final weekend of our FreeFly-Slalom. My name is Ben Costangeris, alongside me is Liam Dredge, and we are about to get our first action underway on what has already been a spectacular festival of wind sports. Here is the course start. We're going to start lookers left up the beach closest to the wind, and then they will tack their way away from the wind with the pump track right at the end. That is where they have to put the wing in the neutral position and pump their way through, and then a short blast to the finishing line, which is closest to the pontoon. In fact, it looks like it really is very, very close to the pontoon. Really set pretty much on the boats and on the pontoon. But most of our competitors now up by the committee boat at the top end of the course, and a good opportunity to see this stunning location for wind sports.
Yeah, it truly is really, really nice down here. We've got such a great setup, being right in front of the action as well. And I really like this course because, you know, we do have the sandbank as well, so it's quite a close course. Not too many long straights, which hopefully means that we're going to be some tight racing out there, some tight turns, and there's plenty at stake as well, because during this event we are going to be crowning our world champion in the Freefly-Slalom discipline on both the men and the women's side. And it's all to play for because the points at the top are super, super tight. At the moment, Francesco Capuzzo, the current world champion, is going into this and wanting to win. But here you go, heat number 1 of the eliminations. These are the riders taking center stage.
Yeah, so we have 18 athletes split into 2 separate heats. The top half of our finishers in this heat number 1 will go through into the final of elimination number 1. The second half will go into the mini-final. We'll have a second heat, which will do the same thing. And then that will give our results for the first elimination. We may have 4, we may have 7 eliminations, depending on how much time we have. We've still got a couple of days here in Abu Dhabi. The competition window doesn't shut until the weekend. And so potential, and plenty of potential, I think, for lots of action out on the water, because these guys with their wings and their foils, they're quite happy in 10 knots of wind, and that seems to be where we're quite solid here in Abu Dhabi, wind-wise.
Yeah, and they've brought themselves with big wings as well. They're riding, full carbon setup, so, they should be able to get up, like you said, in the low winds that we've experienced the past days. We've, roughly around, I would say, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the wind tends to kick in. It does gradually build. It never really kicks in and you think, now's the time to go. It's a gradual builder. And local time now, we've just passed 4:30. Sunsets in about an hour's time. So we've hopefully going to get a good hour's worth of competition. But it's all eliminations up for grabs as well, because the way it works, like you said, we want to try and get a minimum of 4 eliminations. What that does on the men's side is it does allow for a discard. And then what will happen once we sort of, let's say, finish on the eliminations, we'll take the top 6 and we'll go into our finals, which we'll explain later on when we get to that moment in time.
Effectively, although they are called eliminations, nobody actually gets eliminated until the end of however many we manage to do. You're accruing points, and you are trying to be in the top 6. Then, if you're in the top 6, you can go again and everything's fine. If you're outside the top 6, then you score points once those eliminations are finished. But our race director now heading out to the top end of the course, where the committee boat will park and where our start line will be created for our athletes, and our start triangle as well. And we have, I think we have 8 athletes in this first race. We had 9 on the entry list, but we've had a late retirement initially on our identification list, but Maris Dayash is not taking part. So that leaves us with 8 in the first one, and does it leave us with 9 in the second one?
Yeah, and some big names as well. I mean, in this first one, we've got the likes of Oscar Leclerc and Julian Ratotti. They're both up in the top 4. You know, Julian Ritotti currently sitting second in the rankings, Oscar Leclerc fourth. Two very quick riders. It's a fast start as well, which always makes it really, you know, eager and interesting to watch. Straight off the bat, it's a battle. And you can see there our riders just getting familiar with the course, how it's laid out, getting used to the marks. And then I do like seeing that pump track as well. That's really where you can see how the setups and the foils come into their own. You know, letting that wing go, holding it by the neutral hand and using that foil to pump your way through that end of the course before finishing the line.
Francesco Capuzzo is the undisputed champion of Free-Fly-Slalom, double champion in this discipline. It's not pure racing because we have that pump element within it. And at the moment, he has taken both victories in France and in Fuerteventura in the middle of, or late July. But he is one of the heavier riders. And with these light winds, it might be that things slightly play against being particularly heavy because obviously you're trying to carry more mass through the water. So Bastien Escoffier, the Frenchman, and Julien Ritotti, who shared the podium on both occasions with Capuzzo, will be hoping to take a little bit of points out of him, and that also take the title away from the Italian that is, at the moment, undisputed in his hands.
Yeah, he's looking really super quick throughout the whole year. Definitely the man to beat, but like you say, I mean, these conditions, they're tough for everyone out there, and the big thing, or the big change, let's say, from what we have seen previously this year is it's, you know, pretty much as flat as it gets out there. When we're in Fuerte, especially on the pump side of things, when you're letting that wing go, you know, being able to use that ocean swell and sort of pick and choose your lines makes a big difference. But out here, I think coming into that pump section with a lot of speed is going to be key. It's going to be a real leg burner, like, because, you know, it's just super flat out there in those light winds. There's no sort of real ocean swell to pick and choose from. So looking forward to that section of the course when it comes to it.
And the turn into the pump section is a right-hand turn. That made a big difference in Fuerteventura and the two different courses that we had there. One day it was a left turn, one day it was a right. And that does slightly favour some athletes to others because they have either their good foot forward or their good foot back. Yeah,
they tend, you know, you're either regular or goofy. So for sometimes, you know, it suits one rider. For others, you know, it suits another. But, you know, we like to try and switch up the course. But for today, this is going to be the course that we're sticking with. You can see the committee boat there with our race director, our judge team out there waiting patiently to kickstart this first elimination off. And Wingfoil riders all out there sort of sharking around the start line.
The big high drone shot showed us actually the channel in which we are having to set the course because there is very little depth around here. Outside of that channel, there's less than 2 meters depth. And of course, these athletes with their foils and masts that are over 1 meter long, they really would like to stay away from the sandbanks. You get a chance to see there's the sort of the width. And then that slightly lighter green on the left-hand side, that is when it starts to get shallow. It's filling in because the tide is coming in, but it is pretty shallow when it is at low tide.
Yeah, it's a really, really good view, actually, to see it. You can see our Wingfoil riders just on the right-hand side there. I guarantee if they're not on foil there, they are going to be straight into the sandbank. So you've got to be careful. You've got to watch out. But tide's coming in, so it is working with us. And you can see our beautiful event setup over there, the top right-hand side of the screen. And the beach is filling up as well. We've got the crowd starting to come in now. And, you know, everyone's sort of creating a nice buzz around this festival. We're seeing every day it's just getting busier and busier with fans and public.
Fahed Island is an Eldar Properties development, which is effectively creating a water sports paradise just on the outskirts of Abu Dhabi, just past the Yas Marina development, which of course best known for its Formula One track, but has so much more to offer these days. There's going to be a PGA Links golf tournament happening there, and Eldar was also responsible for the Yas Marina facility as well, which has many, many hotels. In a few years' time, this place is not going to look like a desert. At the moment, as you can see, it is just a single building, which is this Water Sports Beach Club in amongst a lot of desert. And the plans are just astounding that we're going to see around here in a few years' time. Already that building beginning to take place. Whilst we're waiting for the committee boat to get themselves sorted. It looks like they're still moving course markers out there on the water in front of us. So we've got some time, and we can see what else has been going on in this water sports festival here on Fahid Island.
Abu Dhabi's Fahid Island is an idyllic, sun-drenched setting for water sports. It's the perfect stage for the climax of the spectacular hydrofoil big air discipline on the 4th day of the Fahid Island Water Sports Festival.
On the women's side, we have a fleet of 5 girls, and it's one event world title. And we are happy to see Andrea just coming back again. From the previous competition, she started to compete with the men's, and she has a good level. And the way she pushed the board offs and stretch, actually sometimes even better than men's. So I use her example to see when you do something, you do it so we can see easily. So that's one thing that's just like on Andrea. And I don't know how it's gonna go on the final, but if she goes like that, maybe she's gonna win.
I'll just do my best and see what happens. I mean, whatever place I come, I'm going to be super happy with myself and super happy with whatever the other women do as well, you know. Like, so good to support each other, and yeah, of course, I always just try and achieve my best, and I have such a big future in this, so hopefully one day, if I don't make it first, I'll make it first.
The women's final is Annie Branton's first, and her inexperience shows when she makes a slow start. She's timed out for her first 2 tricks and fails to score, but she finds her groove and finishes the heat strongly. A last gasp trick lifts her to 3rd place. Christelle Devry is another debutante on the tour, but the 37-year-old French woman is also a snowkite world champion, and her competition now shines through. She retains her composure to claw back a deficit, and it carries her to 2nd. Defending world champion Switzerland's Andrew Zust falters on her first trick, but the doctor in another life never looks back after that. She lands every trick and keeps her scoreboard mounting. Gives her the win in Abu Dhabi and back-to-back world titles.
It's incredible, really. I didn't know what was coming for me because we have so many new competitors that didn't compete last year. So yeah, it was like a surprise for me to see how well they're doing. And it was really surprising to see that Christelle did that well. So I was a little bit nervous going into finals. But yeah.
The thriller of a final more than shows the women's big air hydrofoil game is very much on the up. The future looks bright. The men's semi-finals feature all the title favorites. In the first, Italy's Leonardo Casati struggles to find his rhythm, but as the heat progresses, he does enough to grab a place in the final. Tour leader New Zealand's Hugo Wigglesworth hits the ground running and doesn't skip a beat. He smoothly lands all 6 trick attempts.
Keep an eye on the feet. Yeah, he does. He changes his feet during the jump.
Yeah, nice.
Which we have not seen. You can see just trying to fish out that back foot and still manage as well to add in those rotations. That's something that we haven't seen before.
No wonder the judges are taking their time to score this.
New moves not seen before push his scores skyward and help him advance.
Yeah, it was good. I think I landed everything, so good warm up for the final.
The second semi is a tight battle for the second spot. Spaniards Lorenzo Casati and Borja Velon are locked in a bitter duel. The big air twin tip world champion, Kasati, looks as if he might pull off as lays down solid scores. But Velen has other ideas, and with his final trick, gets his nose in front and sends Kasati packing. By then, Germany's Finn Flügel is already looking at his rivals in the rearview mirror. The second-ranked teenager piles on a big total and moves up.
The red flag is up on the committee boat, and we are about to get ourselves underway for the first of our races here in Abu Dhabi. The sun is starting to set, so we will have about an hour's worth of action before the water gets shut down by the Coast Guard. They are hanging out and watching, and there is your start line. And I think on the left-hand side, the two first marks. Then they'll be going all the way to the right-hand side, back up to the left, and then heading across to the pump track. The right-hand side being the start, the top left being the first two marks, then back to the right, then across to the left, and then into the pump track. So actually quite a long downwind sail to the pump out of that right-hand turn.
I was just thinking that looking at the course, it gives you a good perception when you're looking at it from above like that. And that, they're really going to have to, like we said, come in with speed, and it's going to be a burner on the legs, that's for sure. And that's where, picking your equipment is, really key, because you don't want to be riding a foil, let's say, which is too small, so that, you're always on the edge when it comes to that pumping track. You want to try and find the balance between speed and also having that efficient glide when it comes to the pump track. Even though that part of the course, is pretty short in the grand scheme of things, you don't want to lose it, towards the end.
Yellow flag is up. Can't quite see where all of the athletes are congregating before this first start. They will be upwind, of course, of the start marker, although they need to stay outside of that triangle for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, they'll just be on the left-hand side. There you can go. They're starting to creep into shot now on the left-hand side. They all have a watch on as well, so they've got the countdown themselves. Don't know how you do the free fly without having one of those on. And very shortly, you'll see them all start to congress together before firing over that start line.
So the start line, they will be coming from the left to the right, as that one athlete has done, and then heading up to the right-hand side. So there's going to be downwind and then turning up into the wind by the looks of things. Yeah,
worth noting as well that you've got all the men at the back there at the moment. So some of them are in that second heat of elimination number 1, whereas the other ones will be going up very, very shortly. And then pretty much when we finish one, we're straight into sequence with the next, shifting an elimination over to the women, and then doing the mini final and the final for the men. Worth noting as well, in the final, we will have 10, all right? So it's the top 5 from here and the top 5 from heat number 2 that go through to the final. The rest battle it out in the mini.
Athletes getting themselves ready then and heading towards the line. 3, 2, 1. Very, very tight to that bottom mark, away from the committee boat, and we are racing for the first time. Giuliano Rototti with that black and white stripy wing into the first mark as our leader. Golito Estredo, I think it is, in third position with the red and yellow wing. There's a Gong athlete in second. That's probably Bastien Escoffier, is it not?
Yeah, Bastien's always quick as well. He'll be up there giving it a good fight. But at the moment, Rototti looking like he is coming out the gates nice and quick.
Bit of squabbling over that 5th position, that all-important 5th position, of course. Remember, that will push you through. No scores for this particular heat. One of the athletes in 3rd position dropping off the foil. Benji May and Golito Estredo share the same setup and same colors. I'm not sure whether it was him or not. But it has meant that it's very, very tight for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. And as they take away the wind from each other, as they interfere with each other's wind, then they drop off the foil. And there's a lot of work going on for these athletes just to stay up on the foil.
Yeah, you can see Alan Fedit there as well, just at the back on the AFS board. He's really having to work it. Actually had a nice podium finish early on in the E4, but now his focus goes over to the Wingfoil And now we see the pumping track. You can see riders letting that wing go. They're not using any power at all from that wing, and they're just using the momentum of the foil. That's why they're having to pump the foil, create momentum going forward. And now here they come towards the end of the course.
Turning hard right. We've got one athlete having to correct his feet. We've got a couple of athletes in the water as well. But we have victory there for Julian Rototti, who comes over the line in first. Second on the right-hand side, Astrello, I think. Third for Escofet. And then the rest of our athletes. Actually, I wonder whether that's Bastien with the gong wing in fourth position. I reckon Bastien lost a bit of time there.
Yeah, potentially. But, you know, if he's finishing fourth, he won't care. He'll make it through to the final. So next up, we're going to be having the second heat of elimination number 1. We'll confirm those top 5 as they come into the system very, very shortly.
And the red flag up for the second of our heats. Once we get the information on the results the first, we'll let you know. Francesco Capuzzo, Riccardo Zorzi, Alessandro Tomasi, Sebastiano Zorzi, Benji May in this one, Ramon Gio, lots of very, very well-known names at the head of heat number 2. This for a space in the final of elimination number 1. The top 5 will go through. That's why 5th position was so disputed in that first heat. As the sun starts to set over this beach club here on Fahid Island. And our athletes get themselves in the good position now. A lot of them downwind closest to the second mark for the from that first race. I would have thought they would want it to be a little bit closer to the committee boat and get a slightly less obtuse line down to that first mark. But it's not like they were setting up wind, but they were tighter to the wind.
I'm interested also to see in the lineup here how the Zorzi brothers do. You've got Riccardo Zorzi and Sebastiano Zorzi, 2 of the younger riders in this heat, but very, very quick. Alongside them, you also have Alessandro Tomasi. He's in top 5 at the moment for the rankings, as we know. The man to beat in this heat, riding for Gong, is going to be Francesco Capuzzo. And also, we've got Benjamin May as well in this heat. So some big names, and also pretty good freestylers as well. You know, Francesco Capuzzo, very good on surf freestyle. Benjamin May as well. I remember Benjamin in the Gran Canaria throwing down huge front flips just last year. Also great to see. But attention now for these riders is on the free fly. And they're all now starting to hover over by that committee boat, because we're going to be going into sequence very, very shortly for this heat number 2 of elimination number 1. Top 5 will make it through to the final. And following this heat, we'll be having our attention over to the women. And it will just be one straight elimination for them. Just the 5 women we have here in Abu Dhabi. Okay, so it's looking now like riders are going to engage.
Much more spread out start from all of our athletes. Benji May at the very, very top, closest to that committee boat. He's able to sail potentially a little bit faster, but all of those further away downwind of him have got a better start, and they go into that first mark then, into that first tack.
Well, Capuzzo on the right-hand side there with that gong with the pink on it. He's taken the approach of going a little bit further and putting in the turn a little bit later.
Oh, but it's kept him in just about the final, but he is in 3rd position when he gets into that mark. He's going to have the inside line.
He's having to work it so much when you pump that board.
Oh, and he's wide into that mark as well, so he loses 1, maybe 2 positions. He's in a little bit of trouble here. I think that's Sebastiano Zorzi with the purple wing, who has got himself up into 4th position.
Ooh,
but now
second place,
back
losing it
through the inside, and Capuzzo gets back up to 3rd. A bit of a traffic jam around him. Remember, you need to be in the top 5 to get through. I saw Benji May topple at the first mark as well.
Yeah, this pumping track's going to be key here, especially for those slightly heavier riders. They need to be coming in with speed. This is around the halfway point now of this course. You can see now coming into the pumping track, it's really tight here in that sort of that 2nd to 5th place. It's all to fight for.
There's our leader.
Looks like it might be Alessandro Tomasi.
And he switches feet outside of the pump, but it's really the battle outside of the first position. Oh, he's not quite got the wing out of the water. He just about recovers it. Capuzzo's going to recover to go through. There is Zorzi coming through now. And a nice little tight finish.
Oh. Capuzzo there managing to claim second place. Alessandro Tomasi in first. And we'll get those third, fourth, and fifth positions done as soon as we see confirmation. Tight finish there for those positions, but it is the top 5 that go through. And we'll be moving over now for the women's first elimination.
A little bit of discussion going on, I think, over at the committee boat about conditions. I saw Julian Rattotti was out of our window, struggling to get back up on the foil, struggling to get back up to the start of the course.
Yeah, these past few days around this time, it does tend to drop quite significantly. 5 o'clock now, local time here in Abu Dhabi. And let's see how far we can continue to push.
So the results of the first race then, Bastien Escoffier ahead of Julian Rattotti. So Bastien did get a good start. Then it was Oscar Leclerc. He was with the red Vaio wing that I was getting confused with. And Golito Estredo also with that same color was actually beaten by Nicolai Spanu. So those 5 go through. Ancor Sosa missing out. Alan Fedit did not finish, and neither did Thomas Proust. That was the results from the first one. We'll wait and give you the results for the second one once we've got confirmation. Here is some of the replays from that first race. Look at right in the center of shot. That's Benji May going down.
Yeah, right on the first mark. You see here just how much pace Capuzzo had on the straight. Pumping section here.
This is going to be such a tricky thing for some of our female athletes. And then it's a tiny run to the finishing line.
Capuzzo so close to the engine of that boat there.
Oh yes, we did lose someone at the back of shots.
So a good start there on those first 2 heats of elimination number 1. Yellow flag is up now, and it's going to be the woman. 5 of them in the fleet. We've got Nia Suarez, who is currently first as it stands. Just shy of Nia is Kylie.
So Tomasi, Capuzzo, Benji May, Riccardo Zorzi, and Sebastian Zorzi going through from that second race into the final. Roman Gio, Jack Raul, Keenan Ursay, and Jeremy Rodriguez were those that were eliminated. So it couldn't have been Benji May that fell, surely, on that first mark. Here are the women. Heat number 1. Nia Suarez, Kylie Belouvre, Mardelas. Those are the 3 big challenges here. We welcome back Oren Cerise after giving birth to her young child. She's been an absolute star in this competition in the past, but of course we haven't seen her this year through her pregnancy. And Fiona Lipic is the young challenger from Austria. Going to be very interesting to see how these women line up against each other. There really isn't particularly a weak link, although the 2 Spaniards are very, very strong.
Yeah, if you look at last year's rankings overall for 2024 as well, Nia Suarez world champ, Kylie second, Mardi Arce was in third, all of them competing here. We don't have the likes of Bowen van der Linden with us here in Abu Dhabi, but we do have Viola and Oran, who are 5 and 6.
Not a particularly tidy start from our women, and that is closest to us, Kylie Belouvre, who is going to take the inside into mark number 1. To her outside, I think, is Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez there in the blue, but she's gone of 2.
She's gone wrong there.
To wrap around.
And she just about recovers it. Mardelaf behind her. stays up in second position, but is off the foil. So De Lath comes past. Viola Lipic comes past, as does Aren Cerise.
Yeah, Kylie's got a really nice bit of leeway here over Nia. Ma there in the yellow helmet in third place. Aran there in fourth with Viola just behind. So a little battle going on for fourth and fifth. All Kylie needs to do now is just keep it going. Keep the momentum going. Nia.
Hang on, where's she gone? Has she got to come down and do another mark?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. Now she heads up towards the pumping area. This is going to be so critical in this women's competition. We saw that in Fuerteventura and in France earlier on in the year. However good you can sail, you still need to clear through the pumping section. And it can be a bit of a challenge. Kylie Belouve, though, is one of the very best. And it looks as though she gets her feet in the foot straps and now into that pumping section towards us. A nice rhythm.
Yeah, she's flying through this section
working
here.
Really well on the Neil Pride, with the Neil Pride JP, and has full control over heat number one here. There are the rest of the girls. Aren Cerise in fourth position, I think it will be.
Yeah.
Or will it be third? And you see, this is another problem that we had, having to tack after the pumping section to reset your feet, and that looks like it's going to be a decent competition.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be
for
tight.
second position. I don't know who got that. I think Ma De Lath may have just snatched it for a second. It really didn't feel like she would.
Interesting to see what happened to Nia there. Nia Sodias was also out in the fleet. It was Ma and Aran. We saw Kylie cross the line. I'm just wondering, did Nia have a fall or did we miss her coming through in second place? Red flag goes up now, though, for the mini final of the men. Checking out a little replay here from before. You can see there Kylie there on the purple wing, Nia on the blue.
Two are outside, and look, lines up an overtake here, but forgets there's that second mark to go around.
Yeah.
Almost had the wing in the way, and that then compromised her. A too tight a turn, she drops off the foil, and then Ma comes around the outside of her. Belouve absolutely mastered that. No issues at all for the half French, half Australian.
Yeah, so
and then look at the competition for second. Ma goes the opposite direction. She's not because she just lost there. It's because she needs to get some power, get some momentum over the foil to then tack without dropping off the foil. And by doing that, by covering that extra distance, she opens the door to Aran to come up the inside.
Yeah, she clearly as well prefers to pump going...
Is that Lipic?
No.
Yeah, no, it's Aran. Not convinced. I mean, Aran's supposed to have a black wing. Oh, black helmet, sorry, black helmet.
Yeah, that's Aran there on the left-hand side with the starboard wing. Very similar wing, actually, to what looks like the one that Viola's rocking.
So, mini-final next. And this is where the points are beginning to be totted up. Anko Sosa, Alan Fedit, Thomas Proust, Roman Gio, Jack Raoul, Keenan Ersoy, and Jeremy Rodriguez in our first mini-final of elimination number one. One more minute to go before athletes will get themselves heading up towards that first mark.
Our finalists also out there, so they'll be following this mini-final.
I reckon look out for Alan Fedit in this one.
Yeah.
He wouldn't necessarily be comfortable by being in the mini-final, one of the legends of wingfoiling, but out of the sport for a while, missed the last couple of competitions, and finds himself in the first mini-final. I think we've got enough time to do over the next couple of days, enough for him to drop his worst scores and have that drop score.
Yeah, that's the great thing about being able to try and push and do those 4 eliminations. It does give the riders that 1 discard. If we can get to 7 eliminations, even better.
Here we go then. Zorzi crowded out at the start. He drops, sorry, that's not Zorzi because he's not in this race. So who is it? We're into the first mark then.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a Cabrina wing. If it's a Cabrina wing, that's going to be Ancor Sosa. But it looks like an RRD has gone over that line first. Oh, one of the duotone boys just coming up short on that mark.
And we got going into the sun then, 2 riders down. In the lead, though, is
Yeah, RRD wing.
Jack Raoul in second position on the gong. I think we don't have any other gongs there. So
Yeah, it'll be him then.
Jack in second position, but RRD leading. And there's that Keenan Ursoy is the only one that doesn't have an RRD in this particular heat.
The other confusing thing sometimes is that, you know, these riders, you know, not that they want to, but sometimes they might be borrowing one of their mates' wings in case they maybe need something bigger in these lighter wings. They've got to be on at least, you know, 5.5 plus 6 meter wings, especially that one there. Yeah, look at that. Up in the 6s, 6.8, that wing there. Really having to pump. You can see passing the wing from around the back, but goes...
Goes down. I think that's going to be Jack Raoul then, who slots in to take the victory. There's a couple of RRD wings out there that are not on our entry list. And so the gong athlete, Jack Raoul, takes the victory. And the athletes come over the line to finish the next one. There's a second Zaoli athlete out there, which... that's why I thought Ratotti was out there, because there's usually only one. And there is only one on our entry list. So
here's the replay from that mini final. Absolute shocker right at the end there. But it was a nice start. Watch how this red duotone goes a little bit short just here. Takes the early turn. We saw Nia do that in the woman as well. Just right at the end, coming off foil, pretty much hands the win. But up next, we've got the final for elimination number 1. Every elimination counts. As we said, it's going to be the top 6 from, let's say, as many eliminations as we do. The top 6 men will go through to the super final, which will take place in the coming days. Yellow flag up now in the final. Okay, so here we go. This is the final 10 riders there. Likes of Bastian Esquets in there. Golito Estrero, an absolute water hero. Huge on the windsurfing scene. Francesco Capuzzo there, your current world champion. Benjamin May, another quick one. The Zorzi brothers. Nicolas Spano, and watch out, Oscar Leclerc, also super quick.
Yeah, but what's... Right, so that was the final of... and so that was Bastien Escoffier taking the victory in the final. And Sebastian Zorzi in second position with, I think third went to Nicolas Spanu.
Yeah, third went to Nicolas Spanu there. So a good race from him. Looks like Julian Ratotti also got into that top 5 spot there, but doesn't really matter because it's the final.
So mini-final then to establish the rest of the points. And I think that was the start. Green flag is up, but general recall. So yeah, they didn't start early, but the athletes are already heading down to mark number 1. So there's the flag to say that we didn't quite have the start ready. We had one athlete well ahead of the rest. Now the athletes need to pay attention, because of course when you get into race mode, you put your head down and you're heading away from the committee boat. You're not going to be paying much attention to the fact that you're actually supposed to be coming back.
Yeah, I wonder who was over early there. So all the riders now, they'll hover around that committee boat and they'll just hope that it's not their name that gets called for the over early. But we will go back into the flag sequence. Here we go, checking out on the start. Oh, he's gone way early.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a flag at all. The flag came up now, I think, from the other shot. So
yeah, he knew it as well, straight away.
All right, so just a reminder, this is the mini-final, not the final. We've just seen the final. And so watch out for the likes of Alan Fedit and Corsosa in this one.
Yeah, Alan is riding the AFS gear, the red and the whites. And Corsosa riding for Cabrina. Encore based out in the Canary Islands. Alan over in France. Does a lot of work as well with the French sort of team, and especially with the youth. He was out there in Costa Brava at our event earlier on the year. Sort of, you know, being the guardian for the young up-and-coming Wingfoil riders. And I've got to say, the French riders, there's heaps of them when it comes to Wingfoil, and they've got a great load of great up-and-coming riders.
Well, there's the green flag going up now. He was
so early.
A long, long way. Got his timing completely wrong there. So we go once again. The athletes will regather. They've seen the red flag. The red flag normally is accompanied by a noise as well. So if you're not looking, then at least you can set your watch to that 3 minute.
Yellow flag. So this is where you'll start to see the riders go a little bit further away from the committee boat now. Hopefully a nice clean start for us as well. Following this, we will then see a reseed for elimination number 2, but we will go straight into women's elimination number 2 also.
Waiting for those athletes to start coming to each other. Still got a couple of moments before they'll cross that line between the yellow buoy closest to us and the committee boat in the center of shot. Coming from left to right.
Just the 7 riders here in the mini-final. Crowd starting to, I say, form. It's a little bit late here, isn't it, when the crowds start to come down here?
I noticed they actually opened the place till 7 o'clock, so it was shutting at 6 in the early part of the week, but it's now extended hours to 7, so you can come down and enjoy the sunset, enjoy the beach vibes if you've been in the office all day in the heat of the center of Abu Dhabi. And that's the idea, is to create this sort of sense of calm and a chilled community around water sports. Right, the athletes starting to gather now.
30 seconds.
30 seconds remaining. So athletes will have that, as you say, on their watches, on their, not necessarily on the wrist, sometimes on their sort of upper arm. Easier to see when you're in that wing foiling position.
So here they come now on the left-hand side. 7 of the riders in the mini-final for elimination number 1.
3, 2, 1.
And we're off.
Quite tight to the line.
Yeah, the duotone rider here on the right-hand side. Getting that inside line.
And that's Thomas Proust, I think, who's got himself at the head of the field, the only athlete with a yellow helmet.
Yeah, that's the Vayu wing as well. Looks like we've got Encore battling for a 3rd place as well. Yeah, Encore now coming around in 2nd place.
With fighting with Alan Fedit there, I think. Is that Fedit in 2nd? Yeah, with his long hair.
Easy to spot, Fedit. But it's Thomas who's still comfortably out in front. Had a nice start here, managed to get the inside line on that first mark. And it's definitely on the lighter side out there. You can see athletes having to work and pump the wing as well as pump the foil. Alan there whipping around quickly.
Oh no, got his wing all confused, and Thomas Proust goes down from the lead of the mini final, sailing comfortably towards the pumping zone now. Alan Fedit leads with the AFS wing and board, an engineer for AFS, outside of being a multiple champion, and now pumps his way, but look, almost coming off the foils. In second position there, Roman Gio has caught him up and has to swap hands, but he goes the wrong direction. That could open up the door for others to come through into second position, but for sure it's going to be the win for Alan Fedit. Second position goes to a Gong athlete, so that's Jack Raoul. And in the water, Roman Gio not even making an effort to get back up again. It's going to lose another position to Thomas Prost, who dies in the water at the end of the pump zone. They're really struggling with that exit of the pump. And it's a battle for third between two athletes dead in the water.
So whoever can get up on their foil first is going to take it. However, on the left-hand side here, just finishing that pump track.
Oscar Leclerc, was he in this one? Can't remember if he was in the main final. No, he's in the main final.
Main final, Oscar. But you can see every single one of these riders having to pump as hard as they can.
But around the outside with the yellow helmet, Thomas Proust goes into third position.
Yeah, he'll be gutted with that after leading for, what, 3/4 of that race?
Looks like some of those athletes heading in towards the beach then. And that is elimination heat number 1, fully done and dusted then, with Bastien Escoffier taking the full points. Second position for Sebastiano Zorzi. Third position went to Nicolas Spanu, with fourth to Riccardo Zorzi, and fifth to Julian Ratotti. So when I first called that other race and said Julian Ratotti got squeezed out, I was right.
You were right.
And then, so some of the highlights then of the mini final. Very, very close down at the far end. It definitely looks as though that was the better place to be. And Jack leading through the first mark from Alan Fedit. And then Roman Gio trying to overtake him. The Gong athlete in fourth, Jack Raoul. And then just as he tried to switch hands, just kind of lost control of the wing, really.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm not quite sure why he made that move there, but Alan just kept it all together from start to finish. Hunted him down in second, saw the opportunity, nipped into first, crossing that line, taking the win here for the mini final of elimination number 1.
3, 2, 1.
Race start for women's elimination number 2, and this is a much better start from Nina Thwadieth, who leads with that light blue. Mardelath in second position, and Kylie Breluv in third spot. A bit more experience now of the course in these wind conditions for our female athletes, and no mistake made this time from Nina Thwadieth.
Yeah, she's got that inside line as well, but Kylie's going to go a little bit downwind now, bear off downwind. She could get the tighter turn, and it's going to get a bit close because she's looking a bit quicker on the straight, so she comes out of that turn super smooth as well. Mar there in third, looking like Viola's just going to quickly nip up into third place as well, but look at the battle that we've got going on at the front between Nia and Kylie.
Kylie forced to go around the outside, and there was no space, so loses a little bit of ground on that next tack. And now we come up towards the real problem area, and the work done from Kylie there as Nina Thwadieth swaps her feet, preparing for the pumping section. They're side by side. Remember, this is effectively a final of elimination number 2. And on the inside, Nina Thwadieth switching feet. Kylie now switches her feet into the pumping section. The kites go into that neutral position, and look how good Kylie Breluv is. Has great rhythm. It looks harder work from Nina Thwadieth.
Yeah, and the thing that Nia's doing as well, she's got to be careful here coming into this last mark. She's going to whip around. This is where it's won and lost. Who can get round and speed through this last mark and pump as hard as they can?
Kylie was up on the foil, and Nina struggled to get up there. Nia drops into the water. Kylie takes the victory, number 2.
She's got to be careful here because she's going to drop down from second potentially into third, and she has done as well. And it looks like Viola here coming from 4th to second.
Over the line for Viola Lipic. Swadia still in the water. Marlenas also behind her. These two women uncharacteristically struggling in these conditions. And the two haven't yet got to the line. They're floating towards the line. Don't know where Oran Saris has got to. She's disappeared out of this one.
Yeah, she just went down on the pumping track as well.
And floating slowly over the line. Nina Thwadia is finishing 3rd. Marlenas 4th, and in the background there with the black helmet is Oran Saris, who's going to be 5th. And that is the second of our eliminations done and dusted. And Kylie Brelouve, would you believe it, in proper control here.
Yeah, it's a great race there from Kylie. It's not over until it is over. And you can see just there, it looked like Nia just coming off the foil. Kylie able to just take that inside line and just nip past Nia. As we see the replay here, out the gates nice and early, Nia. And she has a great amount of distance there. Kylie actually in 3rd place going over the start line. And then quickly nips herself into 2nd. Then it was a right battle between her and Nia, as we see Mar there in 3rd.
Really nice tack from Kylie as Marlenas struggled a little bit, but it's the sailing from Kylie here, who has a lot of windsurfing experience, and she just sailed better. That transition there, look at the work she does on the exit of the pumping section to slip up the inside. That puts Nia off and drops her off the foil, and almost Nia then gives up there.
Yeah. I mean, what was going through Nia's mind there? You can see she's still not able to get onto the foil. That gave the opportunity for Viola to then come and get some good points, actually. You know, 2nd place on the elimination, number 2 for Viola there. Moran as well on the left-hand side going down on that pumping track.
So the females in the water. Sounds like the crowd enjoyed themselves. With the sun going down here in Abu Dhabi, it does mean another day of action underway, and we've got some action out on the water for you. The start of the GWA freestyle slalom with 2 races under the belt for the women and 1 elimination for the men. Thank you very much for joining us, and make sure you join us for more action over the coming days here from Fahid Island.